Welcome back to our live show. All these times are real. Later, I'm going to be talking to the two dope queens, and we'll have a performance by Grammy winner Chris Stapleton. But my first guest tonight hosts the most popular political podcast in the country from Pod Save America. Please welcome Jon Favreau, Jon Lovett, and Tommy Vietor. Good to see you again.
You too.
I think the last time I saw you, was Trump president the last time we saw you guys?
Yes. Yeah, he just
was.
started.
Okay, yeah, I was wondering why I had a contact depression. Now, you guys, Jon and Jon, you were speechwriters, wrote for Obama and for Hillary Clinton. As a speechwriter, how challenging is the State of the Union? Is this like your Super Bowl?
Sucks.
What sucks about it?
Because it's just so long and you have to get everything in there. Like, I think a president should give someday a 20-minute speech on one single issue and just spare us all the words.
But it's the State of the Union. It's supposed to be like an umbrella, like cover everything, right?
And that's why it covers everything. It becomes a laundry list of like every policy in the government.
Yeah. It's very boring.
And this was the third longest in history at 90 minutes. Bill Clinton beat it twice. So Bill Clinton has the 1 and the 2 spot.
He does.
Okay, and then, yes?
No, it's amazing. It was the third longest, but it was almost half the length of Bill Clinton's longest speeches.
He made delivery was slow.
5,500 words. He made it last 90 minutes.
He started to fade toward the end.
He did.
It really seemed like somebody should pull the string in his back one more time.
Yeah.
John Kelly was trying,
Yeah, I mean, John Kelly gave Mike Pence.
Yes?
John Kelly did give Mike Pence the official cattle prod.
Cattle prod to keep him going.
So actually, people don't know this. It's the one night of the year it's not in the chief of staff's possession with Trump. But he couldn't get a moment.
Now, there was an emphasis on bipartisanship going in, and a nod to it here or there within the speech. As Democrats and Democratic operatives, I don't know what that word means. It makes you sound like hitmen. Did you feel reached out to in any way?
I mean, I don't know how you take a speech and divorce it from an entire year of actions, right? And so they spend 15 minutes. The big debate right now is about whether to prevent the deportation of 800,000 kids who are American. And he spent 15 minutes talking about immigrants in the context of gangs killing people. So I don't know that that's anything but divisive.
That did seem like an odd. That seemed like an odd entree to the question of immigration, is to focus just on gangs.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about international affairs. Tommy, you worked as Obama's national security spokesman. How do you think this speech will be perceived overseas? Because there are polls that say that the United States has taken a hit in terms of its stature, and certainly the United States presidency has taken a hit in terms of its stature around the world. Do you think this will do anything to help with that?
Well, I mean, he talked about, in the context of arms control, this magic moment someday when countries might put down their nuclear weapons. Back in the day when, say, Ronald Reagan was president, that was called diplomacy. And you had a Secretary of State and a president who negotiated, and you had arms control agreements, and you worked on these things because you cared about them. He also talked about North Korea, but if you pick up the Washington Post tomorrow, you'll learn that his designee to be ambassador to South Korea was withdrawn because he apparently opposes a preventative strike on North Korea because he fears it could start a nuclear war. So I don't know that you're going to pick up the paper and feel great about that speech, given all the other context that's out there.
Wait, okay, I haven't read the story. So you're saying that the ambassador to South Korea, the proposed, the nominated ambassador,
Victor Cha, worked for Bush,
has been pulled. His nomination has been removed by the White House because he thinks that attacking a nuclear power might start a nuclear war.
It's this policy they call a punch in the nose strategy, which say if we pop North Korea in the nose, they'll chill out and not fight us.
Sounds good, doesn't it?
Sounds great on paper.
That's the best way to calm down a crazy person. Just bing!
That's what they say.
And they go, we're done. We're even. We're even.
Yeah.
Okay. Well. Okay. Is there anything about the speech that you agreed with? Is there anything that's just sort of, to be fair, say like, okay, that is something that is supportable, and to be nonpartisan for a moment, if you can, you pinkos.
We're just such hacks. No, I mean, like, he talked about criminal justice reform, but, like, he's not going to do anything about that because he's talked about it before and he's had a year and he hasn't done anything about it.
He might have a reason coming up to make prisons a lot nicer. He might, at least for his family. At least for his family.
He talked about prescription drugs, but he talked about that last year, and, you know, he's not going to do anything about that either. So it's hard to divorce the speech from, you know, what he's done for a year is the problem.
State of the Unions only matter. I mean, we don't remember State of the Unions. You couldn't tell us our favorite lines from Obama's State of the Unions. A couple of jokes we don't remember. But they matter because they sit between what came before and what came after. Donald Trump said he wants to take on the opioid addiction, but for the past year, he tried to cut Medicaid by $1 trillion. Donald Trump says he wants to do criminal justice reform. Jeff Sessions is the reason we don't have criminal justice reform right now. He's one of the key voices in the Senate that prevented a vote on that before he became Attorney General. He said he wants unity right before he talks about how kneeling during the anthem, or implies that kneeling during the anthem is unpatriotic, even though it's a protest, you know, people demonstrating their civil rights. And by the way, he talks about reaching out to Democrats. He's never apologized for any of it. You don't get to stand up there and pretend that the last year didn't happen. You don't get to pretend that the only people that don't care whether or not Donald Trump apologizes are people like Ted Cruz, who just supplicated themselves before this guy that called his wife ugly and said that his dad killed JFK. And he's like, oh, this guy, he's the master. So give me a break.
We're still on the fence.
Still on the fence. Well, Ted Cruz is our first invertebrate senator, so that's diversity. That's diversity right there. Is there anything about his communication style, as professional communicators, anything about his communication style you go, okay, yeah, that is he's good at that?
Not the way he spoke tonight, because tonight he did the I'm reading a hostage statement kind of delivery. You know, like
he was blinking out. He was blinking out the message.
He wasn't allowed to use his Twitter voice, you know, and so he just sort of looked like he was reading a speech for the first time. You know,
Trump's genius is he drives a news cycle for weeks at a time. But a very smart reporter named Peter Hamby wrote a piece today, said nothing in the speech tonight will be as memorable as any one Trump tweet, because it's focused and he can drive a narrative and you remember it. No one will remember tonight.
Yeah, and very few references to his opponent's menstrual cycles, which is a key part of his brand and identity.
I understand. You know, what about the Democratic response? What about Joe Kennedy III? Is it the third at this point?
I think we're on 3. Yeah.
Joe Kennedy III. Did you guys? I didn't get a chance to watch his.
I think he did really well. I think it's such a tough job to have, the response for the State of the Union. Like, no one wants that job.
It's an honor.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
It's ruined more politicians than prostitution, but he did fine. He did fine.
Okay, good.
Cool.
Good. Please don't say the word Kennedy and prostitution in the same sentence. The guy's, he's got a career to look out for. Well, listen, guys, thank you so much for being here. Good to see you. Thanks so much. We'll just wave from a distance. Their podcast is Pod Save America. Jon Favreau, Jon Lovett, Tommy Vietor, everybody.